Hello, and welcome to my review. Grabbing my notes here because they're discombobulated, but here we go. So, MySims Agents. Honestly, I picked the game up because it was like $1. And I'm glad it was only $1 because it is boring. After about a half hour, everything is repetitive and annoying to the point where you don't want to play anymore. But you will because you're curious about where the story's going. If you're me, I don't know why I was curious where the story was going. I had no reason to care where the story was going. It doesn't really go anywhere, by the way. The story is eh. I mean, some kids would probably get interest out of it. It's kind of a simple adventure game with some simple controls because I played the Wii version. I'm sure there's other versions. I want to say there's a DS version. I could be wrong. But you just run around and do certain things by pressing certain buttons. There's like investigating, which is really just selecting the investigation tool and following a trail to what it wants you to do. And I say every now and then, but like every 5 steps, you're going like this to beat up a trash can or a box or whatever other random thing needs bonked on. To get things, collect all the collectibles. And why do you need all the collectibles? Well, it's simple. Because you can't get the actual ending to the game unless you have the agents needed to do the dispatch missions. That's what all this is. These are literally just dispatch mission notes. I listed each dispatch mission, what it was called, what natures it needed, and who the best to send were for each one. I looked it up so I wasn't repeating stuff over and over again because there are 51 of these. And you don't unlock them right away. You actually have to pay about half the game to unlock this. To even have any agents worth sending, you need to have actually collected everything along the way. Which means, about halfway through the game, if you weren't collecting everything, welcome to it's time to go back and find everything that we missed because the game is not going to let me get away with this. I was glad I collected everything because I was like, well, it's in front of me, I might as well. Or in one case, it was, oh, I went the wrong way. Well, I might as well pick this up. Because it's not really clear, to exactly where to go. Sometimes there's 3 different door options. You're like, door number 1. Nope. Door number 2. Oh, yeah, that's where I needed to go. Well, now I'm done with door number 2. Might as well see what's behind door number 3. Oh, it's a collectible. That I probably needed. I don't know. Anyway, so I made a save for the last mission. Because once you start it, 51, once it turns in, that is the ending. There's 2 endings. So, at the end of the mission, you'll get texted, because that's what the game does. And there's not, I want to say there was a way to save and then choose, but I could be wrong. So it's best just periodically save while you're waiting for 51 to finish, because they decide to take their time. And what I did was hung around the headquarters running in circles. I'm like, I'm bored. I got everything. I'm bored. Anyway, the options are bring them both or leave them behind. Those are your options. I ain't gonna tell you which one's a good ending because I suffered through this and I ain't telling you. I mean like that. Honestly, unless you've played the game, it wouldn't make sense anyways. But let's just basically say it's the final showdown against your nemesis. I don't know. And neither ending's exactly what you expect it to be. Either way, you're like, that's the end. Okay, whatever. I don't feel rewarded in the slightest. Now, while I see young children getting some kind of enjoyment out of this, because, I mean, as a child, I liked Bubsy, okay? Kids are easily amused. But anyone with enough sense to figure out that this is repeating itself over and over and over again, and very slow and very boring, will not want to do it anymore. Which I'd say most people. I was different as a kid. I'm one of those people who's more optimistic, more open to games. Like, I'll keep trying. Why I don't know. I don't know why I do that, but it's not worth it, because to beat the game you have to complete it. I don't see a child wanting to do that, because it's over 8 hours of waiting if you've collected everything along the way. Now, if you haven't collected everything along the way, you might be waiting and coming back and forth between the base, but that doesn't mean you'll have successful missions if you don't have the right people sent, which means you need to have the best agent options. Now, some of them are unlocked just from beating the game, but some of the best ones can only be found in random collectible spots throughout the game. With any reasoning, no. There's no reason given to go other than because you're like, I'm looking. Is this where I know? Is this where I know? What about this treasure chest? Oh, yeah, there's never anything in a treasure chest. Generally, that's the collectible agents. In fact, there is one specific agent that requires you to intentionally fall off of an ice bridge thing that you naturally want to succeed at. You're like, I'm just going to get across this and move on. Don't. Get about midway and fall down into the pit in order to get the collectible. That's the only way to get it. You cannot jump down there. Why? I do not know. The only way to get down there is to fall down there. But you can jump back out. Granted, the platforming is terrible. I don't know who designed the gameplay, but it's like, just, would you, I can't. Lining up jumps is, like, impossible. Because, like, in your mind, you're like, if I line up this way, I'll jump. No, I overjumped it. How did I? Okay. I underjumped it. What? Because it makes no sense. Their jump pattern, it's like, they're like, light as a feather, and then boom. What? I don't know. They didn't design the jumping mechanic right. The jumping mechanic is very stiff. Because it's like, you got like this high whoo to the jump, but they just, and they won't just jump straight up and down to give you an idea of what you're working with. They always jump forward, regardless. So find some nice, flat, safe ground at the beginning of the game in order to practice your jumping, and then promptly forget how your jumping works by the time you get to the platforming sections and fall 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 and go running around in circles until you finally get past the place and you're like, I am not doing this again. And then you find out that you need to fall at one specific spot that you managed to not fall in order to get a thing. And you're like, why? So, naturally, I do not recommend MySims Agents, even if you can get it for $1, like I did. It is a Wii game that probably should not have been made. Obviously, I'm not the only person that has played this game, and I'm sure there's probably somebody who has a different opinion than me. Feel free to share that in the comments below, or if you agree with me and think that the MySims Agents game is boring and repetitive and shouldn't exist, and why does it exist? Or maybe I just told you how to get the actual ending to the game and you had absolutely no clue that that was a thing. I don't blame you. I could not figure it out for a long time. It took over an hour of research in order to figure that out, and over 8 hours of standing around aimlessly in order to see it. Not that it's worth it. But there you go. If you never actually saw the ending of the game, you're like, oh, wait, there's actually an ending beyond beating the game? Yeah, there's an ending for all the monotonous, just let the other people do missions that you can't join in on or do anything with? Cool. Because that's what you want to do. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and until next time, I hope you have a great day.